Hey folks, Rob with Two Guys in a Ride, and today we're here at Mecom, Kissimmee.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, 3,500 cars where the cars are. And with me today is JK, or Mr. Hollywood, or as you may commonly know him as well as Mr. John Creaman. Now John, you found your success, your career success as a sales manager of autos and then aircrafts.
Yeah.
And you are actually a licensed pilot. A licensed Federal Aviation Administration pilot and mechanic.
All correct.
That's really cool. Now, a little bit of history about John, and I'm going to make him maybe blush or whatever, but he joined Mecom in 2006 and is now the Director of Company Relations and is the company spokesperson at all their public events.
Right.
So he's the point guy. I mean, he knows it. Now, as the supervisor of Mecom's on-air talent, John further utilizes his skill set as a commentator and analysis for all the televised coverage of the Mecom auctions, and that does start today on Motor Trend Network. Now, you actually have a little bit of downtime, and in your downtime you enjoy your car collection, and I believe it still includes a 64 Pontiac GTO,
yeah, man, you're
2014
good.
Mustang,
yep.
A 2010 Corvette C6,
yep.
And he also likes to spend a little bit of time, and I'm sure she appreciates it. Christine appreciates you spending time with her.
She does.
And also with his, is it still 5 grandchildren? Or
Five
are there
is
more?
correct. No.
5 grandchildren. See, isn't the internet great?
Yeah.
We know a lot about you, don't we?
I'm impressed, brother.
John also has another hobby where he performs in a classic rock trio called Redline 7000. That is so cool. What do you play?
I play guitar and sing, but you know, it's all the same. The cars of the 60s are a passion for so many of us. In fact, that's the heart and soul of the collector car market. And the music and the lifestyle all ties in with that same era.
It is.
It's all the same.
You hear one of those tunes, it transports you back to the car you were in with the earliest days that you first heard that tune.
Well said.
It is so cool.
Yep.
Now, so John, I've got a few questions for you actually. How long has Mecom Auctions been in the industry?
Well, keep in mind, Mecom Auctions began life back in 1988, Rockford, Illinois. It was the brainchild of company president, founder, he's a visionary, Dana Mecum, going back 35 years. But today, Mecom Auctions is in fact the world's largest collector car auction company, period. And this auction, Mecom Kissimmee, Osceola Heritage Park, is the world's largest collector car auction. I'll give you some quick data. 3,500 cars over 11 days at this venue. Last year we did over $120 million in the sale of collector cars here. That was a record. Just here at this one, we did $580 million total for the year. But this auction, over $120 million. We're expecting another record here in 2022, and I just want to invite everybody, you want to tune in on the action?
Yep.
Motor Trend TV, Motor Trend Plus, both. We kick it off Wednesday, 12 noon, that's Eastern time, 6 hours a day, 4 days straight, that's 24 hours of live coverage, covering the absolute best cars at this auction, and it is going to be utterly amazing, and I have to apologize for my enthusiasm, my exuberance. This is the holy grail of the collector car world. Everybody is tuned in and paying attention to what happens here. It will set the stage for the rest of the year. It
does, and I got to tell you, I really appreciate the fact, I reached out to your front office and they said, oh, we'd love to have you guys down here. And how about if I have John Creaman reach out to you? And I'm like, I had to read that email 3 or 4 times because I'm like, no way, this guy's too busy to worry about us. But again, folks, he just came out of a meeting. He's got another meeting in a few minutes, but he's spending a few minutes with us, so we're going to make this as quick as we can. So now, John, it seems that resto mods and trucks have been bringing pretty good money in the past several years. What other trends have you seen lately?
Well, what is really fascinating in what I call the pandemic era is the fact that collector cars in general, and that would include pre-war classics, hot rods, 50s chrome and fin era cars, muscle cars, pony cars, Corvettes of any year, modern exotics, modern performance cars, Camaros, Challengers, Mustangs, all the way up to C8 Corvettes.
Really?
Prices are higher than in the history of my experience in the collector car world, which spans 6 decades. The market overall in general is on fire. And as I said earlier, we are on track for a record auction. What we monitor is our sell rate. In other words, how many vehicles do we actually sell versus consigned. Pre-pandemic, if we were in the 65 to 70% range, we were really happy. At this very auction here, we're already over 85%. Now keep in mind, this auction started last Thursday. It's going on on, not quite, but it's almost going on a week old. So we've established a routine. That's why I'm so confident this will be another record.
80% sell-through. 80% of every single car that crosses the block is going to sell that moment, that amount of time.
Right.
And just real quickly, you know, I watched it on television, and it seems like there's like 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes of cars going across a block, and some folks could be bidding $15,000, some folks could be bidding $2.5 million. How do you make a decision that quick?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that a hallmark of Mecom Auctions is having cars of all price ranges. We have cars here for $5,000. We've got cars here that can sell for multiple millions. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. We do not discriminate against anybody's car. We don't shortchange anybody, whether a buyer or a seller, just because their pocketbook isn't as deep as maybe the guy next to them.
Right.
But that having said, we advise our bidders in particular, know what you want to bid on, know what your maximum limit is, because the action is fast-paced. And I'll tell you why it has to be, Rob. We have almost 400 cars each day at this auction. We would be here till midnight if we couldn't maintain a fairly rapid pace. So we tell everybody this thing is going to be moving quick. Be prepared to bid, know where you're at, or you're going to end up losing out on your dream car.
Now, and I've visited, I have a collector car myself, and I use Haggerty Insurance, and I've visited the Haggerty website, and it's really cool because with them, they're able to tell trends also by the people who are requesting bids or quotes for insurance. So one of the things I'm wondering about, are you seeing a new generation of buyers emerging, and have you been seeing that? I mean, are you seeing the 20 and 30 somethings, or is it still 40, 50, 60 year olds?
What I'm going to say might surprise you, and this is based on my observations from sitting long hours over many auctions since 2008. We're starting our 15th year on television with this auction.
And I've seen every year, and I'm glad I'm here, so
well,
thank you.
Much appreciated. But so my observations, I think, are probably pretty close to what's happening. And so here's where it gets kind of fun. There is definitely a younger demographic getting involved in collector cars, but they're not 20 and 30 year olds. They're 50-year-olds to 60-year-olds, which may not sound like a youngster, but you don't think about it. In our 20s and 30s and our 40s, we're developing our dream car list, or we're developing our thoughts of what we might want to have. But we usually can't afford them. We're starting our careers, we're moving up the corporate ladder or the work ladder.
We got the kids out of the house, college paid for.
We're paying mortgages, we're paying off college debt, all of that stuff. Age 50 seems to be the sweet spot, where folks are at top of their peak earning curve, they've got a little bit of extra disposable income, now it's time for fun. So those of us 10 years ago that were 50, we're maybe 60 now, and the guys that were 40 dreaming about it 10 years ago, they're 50 now, they're coming into the market, and that cycle seems to be continuing as we move forward. Keep in mind, this is 2022, right? The collector car market has never been hotter, and the average age of a collector car at Mecom Auctions is 50 years old. What does that say about it? The market's strong, the demographics changing, a slightly younger buyer is emerging, and we cannot be more delighted.
So hopefully there's no end in sight with all these beautiful cars. There's going to still be demand, there's still going to be buyers, because I mean, we walked in the gate and we're just drooling and chins dragging along the roadside there, because we're just gaga over the beautiful cars that are here. It's amazing. So tell me real quick, got a couple more questions for you. What is your personal favorite decade of cars, as far as design or nostalgia, or just what tickles your fancy? You personally, what is your favorite decade?
I'm gonna take advantage of that question and kind of spin it a bit. With me, it's really the mid 1950s through the early 1970s. I think that era of automobile, coming in with really the performance, really started to get going in the mid 50s. Colors, car design went from stodgy and frumpy to very stylish. I really like that transition era, roughly in the mid 50s. Going into the 60s, the muscle car era, the Corvette really came into its own. The invention of the pony cars, all of which are all A-list in the collector car world. And we know by the early 70s, things really started to change and wind down. By the mid-1970s, there was only a handful of performance cars left.
Performance was tires, wheels, and stripes.
Exactly, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, a decal performance car.
They still mean something to that generation.
There's absolutely, and more all the time.
Straight out performance, straight line, or even handling performance, those, well, maybe not handling for the 60s American cars, but straight line performance was there. But I remember too, I'm kind of that same era, because you had the forward look of the Chryslers in 57, 58, 59. They kind of led that, getting us out of that stodgy look. And then, of course, you had the power, the horsepower, and then GM, you know, together with DeLorean, put together the Pontiac GTO, and then you had Iacocca come out with the Mustang. So, I mean, it was just a period of inventiveness and free-for-all almost, and it was just a golden period.
Well, and it was also the coming age of the baby boomers, the largest bump in population in America ever, not even to be duplicated. So it was the perfect timing. It was really the perfect timing that as the automobile transitioned, appealed to a slightly more youthful market, and those of us that have fond memories of that time period, we like to live in it and we like to stay in it. I will just say, a happy space for me, and I think it's what's helping to drive this market during these very difficult times for a lot of people, is how good we feel when we're out in the garage working on or driving our cool car. I know I can say from my own experience, it puts me in my happy place, and I like being there.
I hear you.
I don't drink or smoke or do drugs, nothing against anybody that does. But being behind the wheel, even if it's in the garage on a cold wintry day,
or even just cleaning a little bit of the dirt off one of the beauty rims on the wheel, or something like that. It's our release, it's our therapy.
It is.
I always say that.
It is.
You know, speaking of that, I understand that you are passionate about Corvettes.
Yes.
Now, do you still own the Ontario Orange 72 Corvette Coupe?
I do, and that's a great car. I bought it here, Mecom, Kissimmee, 2016 for my wife, Christine. It's a 30,000-mile Bloomington Gold car. We love it. It's her car, but she lets me drive it.
I was going to ask.
Thank you, dear. And I have a 2010 C6, as you mentioned, with an LS3 6-speed. That's blade silver. And I was lucky enough in August of 2019, I ordered a brand new C8 Corvette, and I took delivery of it in December of 2021.
Okay.
No, 2020.
2020. So you've had it a year.
So I've had it now. I've had it for almost exactly 1 year. I got it December of 2020.
What color?
Elkhart Lake Blue Metallic with the Sky Cool Gray interior, with the red painted calipers, and it is a keeper like all of my fun cars
are. How many miles?
Right at 3,000 miles right now.
So you've actually driven it, too.
Yeah, and I'm going to drive it and keep it. I'm not going to flip it for the profit it would bring right now.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's my car, and it ain't going anywhere, brother.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. I don't know. I mean, to get in that Ontario Orange Corvette or the new C8, how do you decide?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I did drive the 72 quite a bit this summer, and what you might find interesting is as much attention as the C8 gets, and it does.
Yes.
It's still a showstopper. The 72, the almost 50-year-old Corvette, attracts almost as much attention as the brand new one does. One of the reasons is I've actually got 1972 license plates on it, which in the state of Illinois is legal to run your manufacturer plates. And a lot of guys look at it and they go, the license plate says 1972, is this a 72? And it adds to the aura of nostalgia.
We can do that in Minnesota as well, as long as the numbers aren't being used. If you find one that year that's a Minnesota plate, you can actually register and run that plate.
Love it.
So it's wonderful.
Love it.
So, you know, and nothing off on the Elkhart Blue, but, you know, that Ontario Orange, that's just a perfect 70s look for that car.
Number one color in 1972.
Was it? And of course JK would know that. So one last question. You're a super busy man. I mentioned it before. We'll let you go. What is your favorite memory of working at Mecom?
You know, that's difficult because there are so many, but when I get asked that, one thing always comes to mind, and it happened right here at this auction. It was the year that we had Jerry Lee Lewis, rock and roll legend, bring his 1959 Harley-Davidson motorcycle to this auction. It was actually presented to him by Harley-Davidson back in the day, and he's kept it all of these years. We rolled a piano onto the auction floor about the same time that we rolled the motorcycle on the auction floor, and he banged out Great Balls of Fire right on the auction block, right in front of the television audience. I got a chance to meet him and talk to him. That's going to have to. I don't know that we'll ever top that one. At least in this music fans.
So for the price of admission to come and bid on an awesome collector car, you also got a short concert from Jerry, the man himself, Jerry Lee Lewis.
People went crazy. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, before we go, I do want to give a shout out to all the other great Mecom commentators here. You've got Scott Hoke, Stephen Cox, Bill Stevens, Katie Osborne as well, and Townsend Bell. Is there anyone else that you have now?
We've actually got at this auction, we brought in our good friend Steve Matchett, best known for F1 commentating. In fact, he's close by here right now. And I've got an announcement. You're the first. Breaking news right here.
Folks.
For all 10 of our televised collector car auctions this year, our good friend, my good friend, and one of the best automotive television personalities on the planet is joining us, not replacing anybody. Chris Jacobs, best known for his work with Chip Fuson overhauling. He'll be in tonight, and he'll be on our television show as well. And you're breaking that news.
Hey, we got it first here, folks. That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, I really enjoy watching all of you, but I got to tell you, I am constantly, when I've watched you on television, John, I am in awe of your knowledge, because someone will say something on the block and you'll be like, oh, no, guys, that's actually this color. Or,
gentle
no, that
correction.
actually didn't have this. Yeah, it's that
gentle.
It's very gentle, but this is the man. He knows it. And John, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you spending your time with us. Thank you also to Mecom and the whole staff. They've been super friendly, and we really appreciate the invitation. And if you need another on-air person, I'm available.
Well, we will definitely keep that in mind. And just like to give a shout out to all the viewers out there that have supported us for the past 15 years. Nothing but positive vibes all the way, and we're going to keep this thing going. The switch to Motor Trend versus NBCSN is a huge plus for everybody. You can watch us on regular cable television and Motor Trend TV, or you can download the app and you can watch us on Motor Trend Plus as well.
Got it on my phone.
Two choices. There you go.
Awesome.
Thanks, Rob.
Well,
we appreciate it, buddy.
We appreciate
very
it as well.
much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, folks. Thanks for watching.